You are walking through life with a blindfold on. You believe that if you are a good man, if you work hard, if you are polite, if you treat a woman with respect, that you will be seen. You believe that the world is a just place and that virtue will be rewarded with affection. And then you watch her walk away. You watch her choose the man who is aloof, the man who is chaotic, the man who, by all logical metrics of modern society, appears to be worse than you. And you are left standing in the wreckage of your own assumptions, asking the question that has haunted men since the beginning of time. What did I miss? You missed nothing, and you missed everything. You were looking at the surface while the game was being played in the depths. You were reading the words, but she was listening to the music. You were offering her a logical argument, but her biology was screaming a different command. Modern society has sold you a narrative. They call it the girl next door fantasy. They tell you that women want a man who is sensitive, agreeable, and predictable. They tell you that the era of the masculine protector is over, that we have evolved past these primal needs. This is the greatest deception ever perpetrated on the male psyche, because while the culture has changed, the human hardware has not. The female brain, forged in the crucible of the Pleistocene savanna, is still running the same operating system it ran 200,000 years ago. It does not update for Instagram. It does not patch itself for Tinder. It does not care about your evolved sensibilities. It cares about survival. In this video, we are going to remove the blindfold. We are going to dissect the 5 things a woman never forgets about a man. These are not tips. These are not pickup lines. These are psychological imprints, deep grooves carved into the unconscious mind by millions of years of evolutionary pressure. We will look at the biological root of attraction. We will look at how modern society manipulates and distorts these instincts. And finally, we will look at the stoic path forward, how you can integrate these truths without being consumed by them. Because the truth is harsh, but the truth also sets you free. To understand what a woman remembers, you must first understand what a woman is for, from a purely biological standpoint. I am not speaking philosophically here. I am speaking about the hard, cold reality of genetics. For 99.9% of human history, we did not live in apartments with running water. We did not have 401ks or grocery stores. We lived in small nomadic tribes of perhaps 50 to 150 individuals. The environment was hostile. Predators lurked in the darkness. Competing tribes would kill your men and take your women. Starvation was a constant companion. In this environment, every single decision was a matter of life and death. Now, consider the female predicament. The human infant is the most vulnerable offspring in the entire animal kingdom. A human baby cannot walk, it cannot feed itself, it cannot defend itself. For the first several years of life, it is completely and utterly dependent on the mother. This means that for a prehistoric woman, the single most important decision she would ever make was the selection of a mate. A bad choice meant not just her own death, but the death of her child, the extinction of her genetic lineage. This pressure did not create a preference, it created a biological imperative. The female mind evolved into a sophisticated risk assessment engine. It is constantly, unconsciously, scanning the environment for 2 things: genetic quality and resource acquisition. We call this hypergamy. Hypergamy is often misunderstood. The culture tells you it is about money, it is about status symbols, it is about the rich guy getting the girl. This is a child's understanding of a very deep truth. Hypergamy is not about the money itself, it is about what the money represents in the ancestral environment. Money is a modern proxy for an ancient need, the need for a man who can master his environment. In the tribe, a man who could hunt the mammoth was a man of high status. He was a man who could bring back resources. He was a man who could protect the cave from predators. He was a man who could impose order on chaos. Today, a man who can navigate the corporate jungle, who can build a business, who can solve complex problems, that man is displaying the exact same underlying trait. He is displaying competence. And competence is the most attractive quality in the universe. So, when a woman interacts with you, her ancient radar is asking three silent questions. She is not aware she is asking them. She cannot turn them off. They are the background noise of her consciousness. Question 1. If a predator attacks the tribe, will he run or will he fight? If the weather turns, will he freeze or will he build a shelter? In the modern world, if the car breaks down, if the boss screams, if the economy crashes, does he fold under pressure or does he rise to meet it? Question 2. A man who is competent but selfish is a danger. A man who conquers the world but ignores his family is worse than a weak man. The female mind is looking for investment. It is looking for the man who will look at her child and see something worth dying for. Question 3. An unpredictable male is a liability. In the tribe, a man who could not control his rage would start fights that got others killed. A man who could not control his lust would create jealousy and chaos. A man who could not control his fear would spread panic. The ability to regulate one's own emotional state, what the Stoics called apatheia, is the ultimate signal of a stable foundation. These are the filters. These are the screens through which every man is judged. And this brings us to the first secret. The first thing a woman never forgets about a man is how he made her feel in a moment of crisis. Not how he made her laugh at a party, not how he complimented her dress, but how he reacted when the ground shifted beneath her feet. We live in an age of emotional exhibitionism. Men are encouraged to share their feelings. They're told that vulnerability is strength. They're taught that the path to intimacy is through emotional transparency. This is true, and it is a trap. Carl Jung spoke of the archetypes. He spoke of the animus, the masculine ideal that resides within the female psyche. This is not a social construct. It is a deep, unconscious image of what a man should be. And at the core of this image is the capacity to contain chaos. Consider the child. A child wakes up in the middle of the night from a nightmare. The room is dark. The shadows are moving. The child is terrified. The child runs to the father. If the father is also afraid, if the father is anxious, if he yells, if he is overwhelmed by the child's emotion, the terror deepens. The child learns that the world is unsafe and that there is no refuge. But if the father is calm, if he holds the child firmly, if his voice is low and steady, if he looks at the shadows and says, "There is nothing here," the child's terror dissolves. The father has absorbed the chaos and returned it as order. This is the emotional fortress. A woman at an unconscious level is still that child. The world is still dark. The predators are still out there. They just wear different skins now. When a woman tests you, and she will test you, she is not trying to be difficult. She is not being manipulative in the petty sense of the word. She is unconsciously probing the walls of the fortress. She will poke, she will prod, she will introduce chaos to see if you crack. If you crack, if you get defensive, if you get angry, if you get needy, the fortress crumbles. Her unconscious mind registers a threat. She may not know why, but she will begin to lose respect. She will begin to pull away. The memory of your weakness will be etched into her psyche. But if you remain steady, if you can hold your frame while the storm rages around you, something profound happens. She relaxes, she feels safe, and she will never forget that feeling. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was speaking about the obstacle, but he was also speaking about the man who faces the obstacle. The man who can face the obstacle without flinching, that man becomes the obstacle. He becomes the immovable object in a world of irresistible forces. He becomes the anchor. This is secret number 1, emotional sovereignty. She does not need you to feel her pain. She needs you to be unmoved by it so that she can lean against you until the pain passes. If you fall into the pit with her, you are both in the dark. If you stand at the edge with a rope, you are her salvation. The second thing a woman never forgets about a man is the look in his eyes when he is pursuing something that has nothing to do with her. This is the great paradox of intergender dynamics. The more you need her, the less she wants you. The more you are consumed by your own mission, the more she is drawn to you. Why? Because in the ancestral environment, a man without a mission was a dead man. A man who wandered aimlessly, who had no skills, who had no drive. That man was a burden on the tribe. He consumed resources but did not create them. He was a liability. He was not someone you wanted fathering your children because his children would inherit his aimlessness. Conversely, a man with a mission, a man who was obsessed with the hunt, with the craft, with the mastery of his environment, that man was valuable. He was the provider. He was the protector of the future. This is the biological root of what we now call status. Status is not about fame. It is not about being recognized on the street. It is about social proof of competence. It is the signal that you are a man who can navigate the hierarchy and come out on top. Robert Greene writes about this in The Laws of Human Nature. He speaks of the need to cultivate a superior purpose, a goal that transcends the trivialities of daily life. When a man has a superior purpose, he radiates a specific energy. It is the energy of non-neediness. He's not looking to her for validation. He's not looking to her to fill a void in his soul. His soul is already full. It is full of his mission, his craft, his art. And this is intoxicating to the female psyche. Why? Because it signals that he has excess. He has surplus energy. He has resources, not just financial resources, but psychological resources to spare. And a man with surplus is a man who can provide. Think of it like this. A starving man will eat the seed corn. He will consume the future to survive the present. He is desperate, and desperation is repulsive. But a man with a full barn, he can afford to be generous. He can afford to be patient. He can afford to be selective. He is not starving for affection, and therefore he is worthy of it. This is the purpose paradox. The more you pursue your own path, the more she will pursue you. The more you ignore her in favor of your craft, the more she will remember you. But here is the warning, the modern trap. In the modern world, men have traded purpose for distraction. They have traded the hunt for video games. They have traded the craft for Netflix. They have traded mastery for social media scrolling. They have become consumers of meaning rather than creators of it. And a consumer is not attractive. A consumer is passive. A consumer is waiting to be entertained. A woman does not want to be your entertainment. She does not want to be your distraction from the void. She wants to be a companion on the journey, not the destination itself. The men women never forget, the ones who haunt their memories decades later, are the men who had a fire in their belly, the men who were going somewhere, with or without her. She may leave him, she may marry another man, but she will always wonder, what happened to him? Where did his path lead? And that wondering is the memory. The third thing a woman never forgets about a man is how other men regard him. This is perhaps the most underestimated variable in the entire equation of attraction. We like to believe that we are individuals, that we are judged on our own merits, that our value is intrinsic and can be perceived in isolation. Biology does not care about your individualism. In the ancestral environment, a man alone was a dead man. A man who was cast out from the tribe, who had no allies, who was not respected by his peers, that man had no future. He could not hunt the large game alone. He could not defend the cave alone. He was exposed, vulnerable, and low value. Conversely, a man who was surrounded by other strong men, a man who was respected by other strong men, was at the center of the web. He had alliances, he had backup, he had status within the hierarchy. This is what we call social proof. When a woman sees that other men respect you, her unconscious mind registers a powerful signal. This man is safe. This man is valuable. This man is worth investing in. She does not need to know why they respect you, she just needs to see the evidence. This is why the lone wolf archetype is often misunderstood. The lone wolf in the movies is attractive because he is mysterious. But in reality, the lone wolf is often just lonely, and loneliness is a signal of low status. The man women remember is the man who has a pack. He has brothers, he has allies, he has a network of men who would stand with him in a fight. Now observe the modern condition. Modern society has isolated men. We have traded the tribe for the algorithm. We have traded the pack for the screen. We have atomized the male experience until men are floating alone in the digital void, competing for attention from women who are simultaneously talking to dozens of other isolated men. This is a catastrophe for the male psyche, and women feel it. They feel the absence of the pack. They sense that the man pursuing them has no backup, no brothers, no tribe, and it makes them uneasy. Because if he has no tribe, then she will have to be his tribe. She will have to be his everything, his mother, his lover, his friend, his therapist, his sole source of validation. And that burden is too heavy for any woman to carry. The man she never forgets is the man who does not need her to be his world, because he already has a world. He has a world of men who challenge him, who support him, who hold him accountable. When she sees that, she wants to join that world. She wants to be the woman who was deemed worthy enough to enter the circle. We have covered 3 secrets: emotional sovereignty, the purpose paradox, and the power of the pack. These are ancient truths. They have governed human attraction since we first stood up. But we do not live in the ancient world, we live in the modern world. And the modern world has a habit of taking ancient truths and inverting them into destructive lies. Let us look at the trap. The trap of emotional exhibitionism. The culture tells you to be vulnerable, to share your deepest fears on the first date, to cry, to be in touch with your feelings. But vulnerability without a fortress is just weakness. If you share your wounds before you have proven you can withstand them, you are not being vulnerable. You are being a burden. You are asking her to be your mother, not your partner. The trap of performative purpose. The culture tells you to pursue your passion, but then it defines passion as consuming content, not creating value. It tells you that self-care is social media scrolling. It turns purpose into a product you buy rather than a path you walk. If your purpose can be taken away by a power outage, it is not a purpose, it is a distraction. The trap of digital connection. The culture tells you that you are connected. You have hundreds of friends, you have followers. But these are phantoms. They are shadows on a wall. True connection requires friction. It requires shared hardship. It requires looking another man in the eye and knowing he has your back. The digital pack dissolves the moment real danger appears. The modern world has made men soft. It has removed the necessity for struggle, and in doing so, it has removed the source of masculine depth. And women sense this. They sense that the men standing before them are hollowed out, products of a system that rewards compliance over competence and agreeableness over strength. This is why so many men feel invisible. They are not bad men, they are just products of a bad system. So what do you do with this information? Do you use it to manipulate? Do you use it to play games for women? Do you use it to become bitter and resentful toward women for having these unfair instincts? That would be the path of the coward, the path of the shadow. The Stoic path is different. The Stoic path is to accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Women have these instincts. They are not evil for having them. They are not shallow. They are human. They are products of the same evolutionary forces that shaped you. To blame them for their biology is like blaming the lion for eating the gazelle. Your job is not to resent the game. Your job is to become the type of man who wins it, not by cheating, but by becoming genuinely worthy. Build the emotional fortress. Learn to hold chaos without crumbling. Find your purpose. Pursue something that terrifies you, something that demands everything you have. Build your pack. Find other men who challenge you, who hold you accountable, who remind you of who you are when you forget. Do these things, and you will not have to worry about what women remember. They will remember everything. They will remember the way you walked into a room. They will remember the steadiness of your voice. They will remember that for a brief moment, they felt completely and utterly safe in a world designed to make them afraid. The secrets we have discussed today are not tricks. They are truths. They are the price of admission to the deeper levels of human connection. Pay the price, do the work, become the man who is unforgettable.